Thanks for coming by, everyone. My name's Reed, and you're watching MOI, or the long version, the manifestation of my wild and crazy imagination. It's far better to be imaginative than boring, so it's a good thing. Just I'm a little bit of a mad scientist at times, but I consider that a plus. Other people, not so much, especially when they hear my ideas about, we're going to do this, and then they go, what? Are you crazy? Now, before we get started on today's video, I got a quick shout out. It's Winging It with Irish Corleen. Link up here and down in the description, so go check out the description. And she makes videos about chickens and interesting stuff like that, homesteading things. And I have to watch a bunch more of her videos. But she also has very interesting comments, it's thoughtful, interacting, and I like seeing her comments on it. So if you don't know who she is, go check out her channel. Go see what she's up to. I think you will enjoy it. Okay? Now, today's video, we're going to talk about mental health. And if you're saying, Reed, you said solar last time. I know. I'm still editing that because I'm putting in a lot of pictures because I have a good friend, Steve. Check him out up here. Link down in the description as well. Who doesn't like the numbers so much. So I'm putting in lots of pictures to things and make little sound effects and, gotta make it, a little more children's level. Well, in truth, though, I want it very approachable, really well to understand and all that, because when I start spouting off numbers, it's 2,500 watts and blah, 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 for so many kilowatt hours of blah, 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 200 amps, people sort of go, I don't get it. So I'm working on making this a lot more understandable. So when it drops, hopefully tomorrow, you guys will see that the fair amount of effort went into this darn thing. But let's get on today's video, mental health. And mental health is quite an interesting subject. And I had an interesting adventure on this because I recently saw a news article come out and that sort of got me thinking about this, but then I'm like, I want to include some other stuff. So I, accidentally was on the phone typing away, checking it out, and Google's the default search engine. I need to change that, obviously, at this point. And boy, is stuff getting rearranged. I mean, stuff I know I've read, I've seen discussions on it, and it's not in the top links. I mean, like what I put in, rates of suicide related to COVID-19, and I'm getting just useless information. Then I'm like, what about, mental health call center rates, issues with addressing mental health issues, panic and anxiety issues, and all this other stuff. And several pages of links are just useless. And I'm going, am I losing my mind here? So I'm like, forget this. Let me change this out here. Get on the laptop, go to DuckDuckGo, start doing the same thing. And, first couple of links pop up and I'm like, there we go. Actual useful information. I'm like, I know I've read these before. Why weren't they coming up? Yeah, we'll talk about those wonderful people messing with us. Because I swear, this is the thing that I'm really getting really irked with on the internet and everything going on with big tech is they're gaslighting the holy heck out of us. I mean, I can watch clips of things said in the debates and all that, and then they frickin' disappear, and I spend hours hunting them down. Again, I've started archiving and saving tons of information because it's like they just disappear. It's like I recently was trying to find a link in my history. I know I'd been on the page. I know I'd been there. I know I read it. I couldn't find a reference at all. I was digging through my history, digging through everything, and I couldn't find it. Well, apparently some of the browsers now decide if a link goes dead, they just drop it out. Thank you so much. So helpful, guys. Really nice. And all sorts of other things like that. And honestly, you kind of feel like you're going half crazy because you're like, I know I saw this. I know I read this. And, it's just buried. So that was my own adventure. And yeah, I'm starting to save a lot of things, archive stuff off and things like that, and it's going to come to the point like when people say, hey, Reed, you got a reference on this? I'm like, yeah, here's the PDF of when I printed it, printed it to an electronic PDF format I store on the computer, or here's the video I'm going to have to upload unlisted for you to go watch because I can't find the source video anymore. It's crazy how stuff is getting buried now, and it's highly, highly frustrating. I do kind of like the old, more static nature of the internet. Now things are curated. Not liking this. But that's not really germane to this topic. Let's get on to the mental health. And the actual news article that got started on this giant rant about searching was that an elderly woman, decided that she would rather be euthanized than go through another series of lockdowns. Being locked in a room in a nursing home, lonely beyond heck, cut off from everything, feeling like a prisoner. So she decided to get euthanized. And the family stood around as she was euthanized and put down. A little wild for me. I thought that was pretty crazy. And if you're wondering, what the heck, Reed? Link in the description. Okay, you can go read about the story and stuff like that. And it was an interesting read, but it got me really thinking about this is, this honestly, compared to a lot of stuff that we often talk about, the things we're concerned with and the things we consider, deep, dangerous threats, this is mild. It really is. I mean, we're not talking a 30% kill rate, people turning into horrible, Ebola victims where, blood is leaking out of every orifice. They're falling down. And it's just the most egregious death possible. Or people dying hideous, horrible deaths like the Spanish flu where they're talking cytokine storms. Their lungs fill up and they slowly choke to death on their own fluids. We're not talking that. I mean, we're not talking that. We're talking, a much lighter death rate. The number of people that are impacted by deaths related to COVID is a ton smaller than the older pandemics people had. I mean, like smallpox. Whoa, nasty, nasty thing. And the disfigurement that even survivors would often have from it, from all the pox that got all over them, So, it's the same thing. But our world has become so safe today, so immensely safe, so little risk and all that. People don't have the skills to cope with this. They really don't. And the other thing is, so what you're having is a very large rise in mental health related issues. Just like the story I opened this with, the woman getting euthanized, directly related to this. Now, I found in my researching for this, I found a study from the University of Glasgow, that's over in Britain, and they did a recent study and they are seeing a pretty big rise in suicidal thoughts and tendencies. And the biggest category that was a rise was the 18 to 29 field. And that actually kind of makes a lot of sense to me. These are the kids that have grown up and stuff like that, had all this stuff like that. And then there's like, your future, you're just getting started in life. You're graduating from college and all this stuff. Your future, they don't know what the heck's going on. Companies aren't hiring. Everything's been shut down, frozen. They're stuck, at home or living still in their, rooms with all their college roommates. No one's getting out. People are just depressed about what could go on. They don't know what to do. I mean, yeah, really frustrated and stressed out. And actually a guy that's kind of right in that area, he's a little bit older, but can really speak on that subject is Tyler over at Let's Talk About Prepping. Link up here, link down in the description. So go check out Tyler at Let's Talk About Prepping. And Tyler, watch this video, make a VR on it. Tell us, what's your side of that? What kind of stresses have you seen in your age group? What are people thinking? What are people feeling and all that? Because I'm 42, so I'm a bit older than that. But I talk to the college kids and all this stuff, and that's what I'm told. They're really worried about the future, really scared, anxiety. They're like, I don't know what I'm doing, and stuff like that. A lot of them just kind of staying around in the small town going, we're just hanging here. We ain't going anywhere and stuff. But a lot of the other kids that had these big, big dreams, they're taking it hard, real hard. They're not liking this pause. They're not liking this shutdown. They're really concerned. They're like, it seems like the end of the world to them, And when you're younger, little disasters do seem like one heck of a problem. Stuff like that. And you can check out the University of Glasgow information, some article I found from Reuters. Okay, someone just laugh at me. Go ahead. It's fine. I mispronounce words horrifically all the time. Yeah, blame my wonderful learning disabilities. But link down in the description so you guys can go check it out. We also know a lot of mental health crisis hotlines and all that are really seeing a huge surge and all that. People are very insecure about food. Food banks are really short on supplies, including New Mexico. So I honestly think our governor is absolutely crazy for shutting down grocery stores and telling them just call the food banks. Our food banks need help. They need a lot of additional supplies and food like that because they've had a really large increase in demand surge. And it seems to be the case that's going on the entire country over. And so, people are really concerned. Like I've seen some videos go on where, they walk past the food bank and, we're talking lines just blocks long. I mean, it's crazy how long these lines of food banks are. So there's a major toll on all that. And we're in, November and we've already got lockdown, stay-at-home owners, everything else going on. This year is going to be worse. This winter, this crossover, this winter, from 2020 to 2021 is going to be worse for a lot of people. And so I really wouldn't be surprised if we see major mental health related issues. But the point I'm trying to make is, think about this. SHTF light. Something's, this is this. We're managing it. Small death rate comparatively, especially to the past. And people are having this much trouble. It's like I said, personally, it's been a little frustrating for me, but, I'm more introverted. My wife, on the other hand, it's really taken a toll on her. So I've had to do a lot, adjust plans. Can't say, we're just going to work, get all this stuff done. She's like, I can't do that. Had to make adjustments, plan, rechange, adapt, overcome, And it's been really hard. But what about the big one? The totally huge event that happens. Grid down, calms down, no running water, no gas, no electricity. And you don't know what's going on. Now I figure for the most part, you get a saying cut off like that. You got about 12 to 24 hours. So like half a day to a day of quiet. That, things will kind of stay. People be waiting for an answer. People be looking for stuff. But after that, things are going to start coming apart. Sure, in the first, section of that quiet time, there's going to be some people panicking, some people overreacting, some people losing it. Yeah, you can imagine the emergency services, if they can be reached, will be very burdened and all sorts of stuff like that. And people taking advantage of the situation to go loot, do all sorts of other shenanigans and bad things they shouldn't be doing. But after that, you can easily imagine how the panic will just take off. Rumors will start. People will say, oh, I heard, the Canadians are invading. It's the Canadians. They're going to kill us all. Yeah, I just had to just laugh at that because the idea of the polite Canadians coming down, we're going to murder you Americans, just doesn't jive, but it's pretty funny. And so I decided to use it. But, people start going, oh, gosh, we're under attack. But they got no signs we're under attack. They're thinking, oh, it's the end of the world or something like that. Alien invasion. Yeah, you never know. But the problem is the rumors will run wild. Shoot, even if, things aren't fully disabled, the cop cars and all that stuff like that, and so they send the local police around with their sirens and public announcements going, stay inside. Everything will be fine. The local government is working to keep you safe and secure. Stay inside and do not cause problems, blah, blah, blah. But when people press for answers, they get none. Yeah, the panic's going to take off. And the mental illness. I can see people just losing it. And that's a big, big problem we face. Huge. So I've long thought, though, in the prepping, survival community, all that, they don't understand and take care of mental illness very well. They really don't get it. It comes from a lot of people never having experienced massive anxiety or PTSD. A lot of people that come out of the military that have involved with that get it. A lot of people that worked in law enforcement get it. A lot of people that have worked in other government positions doing other things of immense stress really get it, especially when you don't have enough resources to do it too. Yeah, they get how bad the mental health aspect and how much the toll it takes on you. The military's finally started making some of the mental health issues a priority. But, as anyone who's been in the military, they can attest to how bad the suicide rate often is. And it shows how much our society just doesn't care correctly for when people come back or stop serving in these positions. How it's just left to the wayside. The thing is, we can't toss those people away. And oftentimes, a lot of them we desperately need. I know people that are absolutely amazing at their jobs, very skilled and all that, but they got some OCD issues. Okay, a big time OCD issues. I know ones that are, they're interesting. Put it that way. But darn, they're good at what they do. And I want them around. I definitely want them. And even me personally, I have my own issues with PTSD because I've had some major trauma in my life as well and stuff. And it does take a toll on you. But, you learn how to manage it a bit. And when the big event happens and everything cuts off and we're finally in the deep, serious SHTF event, we are going to have a ton of people that are going to suddenly become majorly affected by mental illness. They're going to have PTSD issues, anxiety issues, major depression issues. You could see all sorts of weird coping mechanisms, people drinking like crazy, searching for drugs and other stuff. You're going to see some wild tics develop, and that's to be expected. And we've got to deal with this in management. We don't want our awesome, super smart blacksmith that we desperately need that is going to be making a lot of things we need for gardening tools and farming tools and all that to suddenly lose it and decide to just go out. No, we got to care for our people. So I've often thought for a long time, when the big event happens and all this stuff, we need a tight SHTF community. And I don't mean, we just all kind of live around each other, we get together occasionally. No. I mean tight-knit community. Like we got group meals, we do stuff communally. We all live very close-knit to each other and stuff like that. Yeah, it's going to fray tempers. Yeah, it's going to drive people crazy because Americans are super used to the idea of personal space. But I got to tell you, seeing how a lot of people live in other countries, like when I was in Russia, personal space is a little bit different. Things are a lot closer quarters and people share some really small apartments with a lot of family members. And it was an interesting experience. Learned a lot and stuff like that. And it's a big difference. We as Americans need to think about this and get adapted to it. Be good to actually do trial runs with your groups. Get people together and do stuff for a couple weeks. I know it sounds really invasive, really intrusive. It really disrupts everything, but this is good learning. Because getting every people close together and all that stuff, you're going to spot people tipping over the edge. When you're that close together, it is hard to hide the issues for really well. It is very hard to hide them. So you can help work on people, help address them, help treat them and stuff like that. And it's good to seek out resources that will teach you what to do, methods and all stuff. There is a field manual by the military that addresses some of the stuff that they're using to help manage these things. Try to look for the link. I'm going to have to dig for a little bit, but I'll try to put it in the description. Might be a little while, but I'll put it up there or in the pinned comment, one of the two. YouTube's apparently kind of iffy about certain links now. They're getting real gripey about it. So I might have to start doing the pinned comment trick that a lot of people do to put all their links in. We'll see how that works. And I got to go edit a bunch of videos. Sigh. Anyways, but that's something I wanted to really talk about here. Mental health is going to be a huge factor. And we can't just say, these people we don't want, these people we don't want to deal with. You know, they're just weak people. Why do you even want them? Just toss them aside. Well, bunch of people saying that might turn out to be the real weak links as it is, because they don't even know where their failings are, because they haven't really experienced it. But we got to take care of each other, and we're all going to need each other a great deal. Because when the big event happens, it's going to be bad. Unbelievably bad. And we need to be ready. And mental health is a key component of that. All right. I hope this was somewhat useful. Hope you guys found it interesting at least. And yes, solar's coming. So take care, everyone. Read out.